Miss Liu mentions that after 8 years of work, she fell into severe depression, was hospitalized, and resigned. She now worries whether she can ever return to work. She asks, so those over 30 who burned out and quit, how should they adjust and start fresh or pivot careers? First, severe depression starting this young has a biological component. Meaning, even without major stress, just ordinary stress, you start to collapse. Or even with no stress at all, it shows up on its own. That's called biologic depression. Medication. The benefits are real. It directly fills the biological gap. So first and foremost, you must take medication. Don't think the job caused it, or whatever else caused it. No, the biology caused it. Deficiency means supplementation. Take just the right amount. You won't be fully normal. Maybe 70 or 80% is good enough. The remaining 20 to 30% then to manage based on how your mood is running. Learn how to adjust your life accordingly. When depression comes, cut back on social interaction. Even take time off at home. All of this helps your recovery. So stay alert and aware of your emotional state. About 70% comes from medication, 30% from your own vigilance. Once you've got those things handled, you become a seasoned driver. You can get back on the road. It's like renting a car when you're broke. A car has real problems. Problems mean repairs. Even after repairs, it still doesn't drive perfectly. So you sharpen your driving skills. Then you're ready to hit the road. Next question. Mrs. Chen says her husband is taking risperidone and mirtazapine. Those are probably the mainland Chinese terms. These appear to be two kinds of antipsychotic medications. We looked them up. He was stable before, but this month his depression suddenly worsened. Almost completely silent. Comes home, lies flat, scrolls his phone. I'm terrified. He might do something terrible. During this medication phase, what's missing? And what can I do for him? Look up what those two medications are. First, your husband may have entered the dopamine crash depression. Some depressed patients get put on too much serotonin medication when they're actually dopamine type, bipolar type. And they get treated as a standard depression case. So they get loaded with serotonin medication. And after taking it, they become completely drained. And dopamine gets relatively depleted, suppressed. So it's even worse. Dying place. So you end up not wanting to say anything, completely dead inside, only craving brief bursts of stimulation, the phone buzz, the TikTok hit, that type. It mentions these two drugs are an antipsychotic, and one is a serotonin medication. So possibly put it this way, regardless of what medications your husband is on. Recently, he's entered a low dopamine state. First, rest is exactly right. The brain has no lubricant. It can't turn. So let him rest for 1 or 2 weeks. Good sleep, rest, sleep. That helps him come back more efficiently. That's correct. If at this stage he's still burning energy, attending unnecessary social events, taking on too much work pressure, not sleeping every night, staying up even when exhausted, all of that delays his progress and worsens the condition. So the first thing is forced rest. Good rest. That's one approach. It's not laziness. Second, on the medication side, reduce the serotonin medication. That mirtazapine might be a serotonin medication. I'm not completely certain. Reduce the serotonin medication and add some dopamine support. If the fluctuations are long-term and ongoing, you may even need a dopamine stabilizer, treating it from a bipolar management angle. There are medical nuances here that need to be discussed with the doctor. Now, many patients today, because they've been watching Dr. Fang's program, their medical knowledge level has risen. They're fully capable of discussing this with their doctor. But that doesn't mean every doctor is at the same level as you. So when you talk to the doctor, stay polite, okay? Don't just blurt out. This is Dr. Fang online, who said Dr. Fang has already become a sword in many doctors' sides, a thorn they want pulled out. Because people constantly say that Dr. Fang online said this. Oh, you're so knowledgeable. You can still be informed, but stay polite. You can communicate when communication is possible. When it isn't, let it go. Okay, that then. That mentions that many children get hurt at school and can only endure it. Then at home, they're told they can't express their emotions or complain. What harm does demanding kids suppress their emotions do to a child's mental and physical development? And how should parents receive and hold their child's emotions? First, child has emotions. Why would a school or teacher demand they can't express them? That's completely unhealthy. Properly speaking, whether something good or bad happened at school, when kids come home, parents can ask, what happened today? Any good things or bad things? Tell me everything. And if a parent is smart about this, so smart parents can ask the child, today you had something bad happen. How did it feel? The child describes the feeling. Then you can ask, why do you think the other person did that? What was going through their mind? And so on. And you can say, so how did the teacher handle it? Teacher handled it this way. And you think the teacher's handling was, it was like this. What do you think the teacher could have done better? The teacher could have done this or that or something else. And you as a parent don't butt in all the time. Many parents talk way more than the child does. The child has their own thoughts. To actually help this child, you have to start from the child's own foundation. Don't constantly try to pour adult thinking into a child. You haven't helped them at all. You haven't helped them reflect or see the world more clearly. You're just rushing to dump your own views onto them, rushing to get angry. That defeats the entire purpose. From home all the way through school, before they enter society at 20, every scrape and bruise, every setback is just learning. Don't dramatize it. What doesn't kill your child will make them stronger and braver. But that doesn't mean beating them every day will make them tough. They need to learn from these falls and scrapes to develop diverse perspectives and ways to respond. That's roughly Dr. Fang's suggestion. Next question. Miss Cam mentions dealing with her family of origin makes her feel suffocated. Many people have this problem, but she also feels deep sorrow. Her parents are aging and sick. She grieves for the self that was once hurt, and also grieves for her ailing parents. How does she cope with this intense guilt and sense of wrongdoing? How to cope? It's deeply conflicted. So conflicted. This feeling. Let me make an imperfect analogy. Say you encounter a bad person on the street, a gangster. The gangster is threatening you, and you're trying to appease them. And yet this feeling is already strange on its own. You're even saying nice things about the gangster. Inside you deeply despise this gangster. But to stay connected to the gangster, to absorb the harm, you play along with a smile. That conflict, I understand completely. But I'm only using this as an analogy. I'm not saying that's definitely the exact situation. I'm just naming the conflict. Many people at home with their parents have a relationship that can't be cut, left, or separated. A spouse or friend, you can file for divorce. You can block them. But parents can't be blocked or divorced. Blood is thicker than water, and there's just no way. So Dr. Fang says there are two options. Either hard isolation or soft isolation. Hard isolation means hiding away. You can't find me, I can't find you. Occasional visits, and even those feel like you need a bulletproof vest. That's basically hard isolation. Do you have the result for hard isolation? It seems like no. So let's talk soft isolation. If you're going to stay in contact, then you can't engage with the emotional bodies. Because this kind of parent frequently uses direct verbal aggression or that more subtle, hidden emotional manipulation. Either of these two moves will burden you. When parents use these emotionally loaded words, don't respond. That's absolutely key. For example, how can you be so unfair? You never come to see me. What kind of attitude is that? You ate dinner without even telling me. This kind of emotionally charged provocation, don't board that boat. Don't answer it. Once you answer, it's back and forth, like the laser beam Dr. Fang just mentioned. Laser beams will burn you alive. Never answer emotionally charged questions. But if there's something practical to communicate, neutral language, meaning don't answer the emotion, just say, I'll come see you Friday. Friday is too late. Come tomorrow. I'm busy tomorrow. I can't. What kind of attitude is that? You don't care about your mother. You want me to die. Fine, I'll die for you to see. At this point, don't kenji. Just say, I have things Thursday, I'll come Friday. That's the attitude. That's what soft assimilation looks like. Stop tangling yourself in guilt. Run doing those abstract word and language games. Your emotions are being gifted, wrapped by these abstract words and labels until you don't even know how to live anymore. Escape from all of it. Avoid all of it. The traps and chains of these words and labels. Don't get caught up asking, is this a sin? Is this guilt? Is this being filial? Is this failing to do enough? Stop torturing yourself with these words. Nobody is telling you to do this. No need to destroy yourself. Next question. We see the C in ABC. I'm an elementary school teacher, dealing with second graders who constantly tattle to me over the tiniest things. If I don't address it, it's a problem, but addressing it is exhausting. How do I handle these tattletale kids? Kids who tattle what they actually care about isn't really the incident itself. Like, Xiaoming grabbed my thing. Teacher, uphold justice. Does she need you to punish Xiaoming in front of Xiaowo? Or does she want you to investigate the reason? The reason Xiaohuo comes to tell the teacher is actually about this. I got picked on. In this world, I feel alone. No warmth. Unsafe. Does she really need a deathmatch with a Xiaoming strung up and punished before Xiaohua is happy? Xiaohua doesn't want it to go that far. Xiaohua is asking the teacher to let that lonely, insecure heart feel a little protection, a little warmth. Do you think kids love debates about rules and fairness? Teacher, that handling wasn't fair. Let me tell you about justice and fairness. According to the law, it should be this way. Kids don't operate that way. They feel unsafe inside. I got picked on. At this point, the teacher just needs to calm her down. Xiaoming, come here. Give it back and say sorry. Done. Then put your energy into soothing Xiaohua's insecure heart. Give her a warm, sun-like hug. Hold her and say, Xiaohua, if you have a problem, always come to me. Teacher will take care of you. That's all it takes. But that's never what actually happens. Instead, convene a family meeting, a parent meeting, report to the school, treat it as a formal dispute to be processed. If every single thing gets blown up this big, gets education bureau and ministry do the same, then who is going to hug that warm but broken, insecure little heart? Who is going to hug that child? Teachers don't know how to hug. Quick, convene a parent meeting. Report to the school. How many hours before it must be reported? What happens if it isn't? Then parents rush to call the police, saying, take Xiaoming away. Say Xiaoming grabbing Xiaohua's stuff is a caught in the act crime that requires arrest. This is what many schools actually do. You see that? So who's going to give Xiaohua a shug and say, come here, Xiaohua, you can always come to me. Teacher will always take care of you. Nobody ever says that. The hug never happens. That's all Xiaohua wanted. And instead you redirect everything to parent meetings and calling in the police. Okay. Next question. Mr. Lin. Mr. Lin says he's a high standards construction site supervisor. His co-workers' work ethic is constantly lazy. They never meet his standards. He's mentally breathing them all day. This internal drain has him anxious. What should he do? Because you're old school. You work hard, feel responsible. It's just natural for you, built in from childhood, your pattern. But younger people, or people a bit younger, they have no tomorrow mentality. If they can coast, they coast. Right. Like the old guard civil servants, if they can eat, eat. If they can lie flat, lie flat. If they can coast, coast. As if drag young down the government is their life goal. It's not quite that. The truth is, different generations have different work ethics. Work ethics. What looks like laziness to you, to these young people, just feels about right. So the first thing to recognize is their work standard is just different from yours. Different doesn't mean one is right and one is wrong. Not about who is better or worse. That's just the landscape. That's point one. What's point two? Point two, I'm still working up. Point two is you're mentally berating them all day, berating them like this. Honestly, causes internal damage, internal drain. Since you're the more responsible type, you could get together with everyone after work sometime, share some of your experience and perspective. Let these younger employees, these subordinates, experience the work ethic of an old school veteran. You can also tell them, sometimes when I see you like this, I feel a certain way. Doing, truth, telling. And these young people will come to understand that actually the supervisor is really holding it all in, suppressing himself. And we need to, the supervisor is doing well. We should step up a little, raise our standards, and meet the supervisor's bar. That way there won't be conflict or internal drain. That's roughly how to handle this. Next question. Miss M says her boyfriend has bipolar disorder and also has attention deficit issues. So they're together. This is what you call an adult dopamine syndrome. And I find it really frustrating. How do I guide him to find something suitable to train his focus and stabilize his state? Your boyfriend, since childhood, has had attention deficit hyperactivity, low dopamine, underdeveloped prefrontal cortex, incomplete development there. And now in adulthood and middle age, dopamine is fluctuating again. So two conditions are at play, somewhat distorted, but both fall under the dopamine deficiency picture. This condition, this state, what are its pros and cons? They actually tell us being sick has benefits. Of course it does. The upside of bipolar disorder is when his dopamine is high, his whole brain is firing on all cylinders. One person doing the work of 5. One day's work stretched into 3 or 5 days' worth. Some of the most impressive people, the most successful in society, ride the bipolar advantage. But private, they suffer. When the depression hits, it's real. Lying in bed, can't move. So there are pros and cons. The average person has a steadier life, but it's also more ordinary. So pros and cons. And if a friend or partner can't understand why today is so good to me, buying flowers, taking me out, and the next day barely acknowledging me, gets irritated at one word, how can one person have so many faces? All of that reflects his brain's dopamine fluctuations. So how do you keep up? First, go watch Dr. Fang's Dopamine Universe, 43 episodes on this platform. Watch all of them. First, after watching, then decide whether to stay with your boyfriend. That's not quite what I mean. Decide how to get along well with your boyfriend. And don't write me another message after this. Basically, understand, adapt, sympathize, empathize. That's how you navigate a relationship with your boyfriend. The method, but you can't just say, I understand, when even doctors don't fully understand this. You yourselves need to get up to speed. Really understand your husband's situation, your boyfriend's situation. You can even guide him, remind him, hey, you seem like you're ramping up. I notice you're a bit manic. You need more rest. And lately you seem low energy, getting annoyed easily. getting agitated whenever someone asks you to eat or do anything. Become his second set of eyes, watching over him. Help him understand his own changes. Because many bipolar patients are too close to see clearly. They're shifting and don't even know it. They blame everything on others. You help him because two people means two sets of eyes, two brains observing. That's when you minimize the downsides and maximize the upsides. That's Dr. Fang's advice. Next question. Miss Wang, I've had nasal allergies for 15 years. Severe congestion causes dizziness and vertigo, and I feel exhausted every day. Is this dizziness normal? How do I address it? Nasal allergies, of course, you can treat them. But to treat it, isn't it just a matter of taking antihistamines? You've already taken antihistamines, of course. The doctor has prescribed plenty. These 15 years, whenever symptoms flare, haven't you been taking antihistamines? They give relief, even stop symptoms fast. So antihistamines really do work, but they only treat the symptom. How can it ever truly heal? Dr. Fang is teaching you how to go from symptom management to treating the root cause. And the core principle of that is treat the symptom every single day until eventually you cure the root. Treat the symptom every day, eventually treat the root. What that means is you take antihistamines every day, especially now as the weather turns cold again. Many people have itchy, congested noses, itchy eyes, itchy skin, itchy throat, everything itching. This kind of state, if you let it keep harassing you every day, you're rehearsing and reinforcing the allergic state. Instead, take an antihistamine every night before bed. If symptoms persist through the day, keep taking them 1 to 2 times a day and completely block that nasal congestion and allergy response. My approach is a bit different. It's about preventive dosing, consistent scheduled dosing. Take it continuously for 3 or 6 months. Block it until it has no chance to fire. Even the body's tendency to react to cold air with an allergic response gets preemptively blocked. And eventually it forgets how to do it. It dispense. That's the win. This approach. So if you want to try this, give it a shot. Go by whichever antihistamine works for you. Take it once or twice a day, continuously for about 6 months. Then stop and forget how to be allergic. Next question. Mr. Chen. He says, I'm 40 with chronic anxiety. Since recently losing my job, the mood swings have gotten worse. I have a license, but I'm terrified to drive, afraid of accidents, unfamiliar roads, and sudden changes. This has actually blocked many job opportunities. How do I overcome this anxiety? You have driving phobia. This isn't just an emotion issue. You have a specific phobia around driving. A specific phobia toward one thing. So driving must have been traumatic for you at some point. Let me give an example. You have anxiety as a condition. And one day, your anxiety happened to spike. That particular day, you were inexplicably anxious. And you were also driving. Distracted and unsettled. Something went wrong while driving. Maybe minor, maybe major. So this incident fused with the anxiety you felt that day, a perfect union. And in the brain, it burned in deep. You have this driving event, the stress of driving, and it created a fear that fuels every future driving moment. The script from that day keeps replaying in your brain over and over. So Dr. Fan teaches you a treatment method, different from what others would say. This method is calm yourself. First, go and understand. Go back and recall, close your eyes and say, where did it start? When did it first begin? That image where driving made you fearful. Then, in your mental image, sit with that image of the fearful driving moment. The image of the event itself. And then watch it for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Do this exercise first. Find that event first. And Dr. Fan will eventually teach everyone how to go about overcoming this kind of trauma-rooted anxiety. because yours is very specifically targeting the driving component. Also, for the chronic anxiety, some baseline medication would really help you. Okay, that's as far as this answer goes for now. All right, last question. Auntie Lu. Auntie Luben mentions that after retirement, she re-entered the workforce, but is the oldest person in the unit and the lowest ranking admin staff. So even though you're at work, you're fairly old, but you're the new kid. And coworkers, you feel coworkers are full of hostility towards you. And the team leader plays face favorites. If it weren't for the relaxed work and social interaction and a bit of income, she really doesn't want to keep working. What should she do? First, in that unit, people have been working together for 10, 20 years, even longer. They're like family, close partners. They know each other down to the last detail. But you're not that. You're an outsider. An outsider. In general, the first move is to test you. If you can't survive this round, you're not one of us. If you survive, even after being knocked around and treated unfairly, the group eventually accepts you. You're one of us. This is a ritual. There are 30 years of bond between them. You don't. So this ritual is forcing you to prove loyalty, the determination to be part of the group. If you hold on, it shows you're committed to being part of them. If you can't hold on, leave early and don't try to join the group. It's not you rejecting everyone. Everyone is rejecting you. So you need to survive this initiation. First, you need this clarity, this awareness. Second, you're middle-aged, re-entering the workforce. You could have been at home doing nothing, taking your small retirement pension or some allowance from the kids, hanging out at a cafe every day. Like today, Dr. Fang walked past the cafe in the morning. It was quite a sight. All retired people. Every table, everyone having breakfast or coffee. Lots of people doing exactly that. And you're not doing that. You went to work instead. Choosing the hard road. If you're willing to go work, you need to be clear that I'm here to experience my second life. Is hanging out at a cafe your second life? Sure it is. But it's a bit ordinary. You walked into someone's company to live your second life. The experience there, much richer. So now you're finally getting that experience, aren't you? This kind of experience is exactly what you came for. As for salary and all of that, it's secondary. You own staff. You are deliberately choosing the hard road, getting a richer life experience. But consciously chosen is different from stumbling into it. If you hadn't heard Dr. Fang today and just went in, you'd be asking, why is everyone picking on me? Why did I come here just to get criticized? I'm telling you, without that awareness, you'll suffer. But if you're consciously choosing the hard path, it actually feels good. Getting knocked around over there. Dr. Fang says getting knocked is how you get into the gang. And then deliberately choosing the hard road, interacting with people. That life is rich. At least better than sitting in a cafe. That's the awareness and attitude you need. Want to understand life issues from a medical perspective? Share with all friends and family. Let's improve Taiwan's medical culture together.